Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage, and this one's a bit different because I've had this Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio in for a week, and while it was here I just couldn't resist putting it beside the Jaguar Project 8 that I've had for about 6 months now, and just explore, just find out why the Alfa is, well, it's about £90,000 less than the Jaguar will cost you. What do you get for that extra money with the Jaguar? Is it worth that premium or not? What are the differences to two cars? I like these sort of cars, these crazy 500 plus horsepower four-door saloons that just have a punch way beyond what you expect. So let's go and have a look at them, a bit more detail, explain some of the differences these two very exciting cars. Right, the immediate thing that strikes you when you put these two cars together is how much more aggressive the Jaguar is. It's much wider tracked, it's pumped out body, and this much deeper splitter at the front. The Alfa has a little trick up its sleeves, and rather than having I've got my Project 8 and it's extended, that front splitter is extended out. I have to do that with some Allen key things, but on the Alfa it actually is electronic and it slides out. So normal driving, it's like this, and it only appears when needed, when the brain inside says I need a little bit more front end grip or whatever, and the splitter comes out. The other key difference between the two cars, well, it's size of wheels, 20-inch on the Jaguar, 19 on the Alfa, 265 35/20 Cup 2 tyres on the Jaguar versus 245 35 19s Pirelli Corsa tyres on the Alfa. The Alfa also comes standard with steel brakes, 360 mil discs on that. There is a carbon option on them, £5,500, but even then they're not as big as the monster great 400 mil disc on the Jaguar. Same Brembo aluminium calipers on both. Well, I'm not sure if the Alfa has forged wheels, but certainly lightweight wheels on the Jaguar, and also the completely carbon front. I'm impressed that the Alfa at the price point has a carbon bonnet, but on the Jaguar it's carbon all the way through to the A-pillars. Come down the side of the Alfa, obviously 4 doors, and then at the rear, this controversial bit about the Jaguar Project 8 for everyone is the big giant rear spoiler. Now, this is purposeful, and it does produce 186 kilos of downforce when you're whacking on at 300 kilometers an hour. So it is there for a purpose, and having driven it at serious speed on the Autobahn now, this is as stable and wonderful to drive at really high speeds. I've had cars that haven't had full aero like that at high speed on the Autobahn, and it was not a nice feeling. There's a slightly sweaty palm, so I love the planted feel of the Jaguar, and if that wing is part of that, well, I'll keep it. Now, if you're not visiting 180 mile an hour plus speeds, then you could argue, well, I could just take it off. 4 bolts, just take it off if that bothers you. But I like it because it's there for a purpose. It's just like with a GT3. Yes, they do a touring, but the real deal for me with the GT3, I would always have the proper GT3 because that's how the engineers designed it. The other thing you notice when you come around the rear is how the Alfa is just sort of sculptured around, but on the Jaguar you have this monster great cutout there to sort of suck air from the rear brake and bring it out, this dramatic cutout, and then just the aero of that flat bit of carbon fibre and the extended sill. It's just so much more aggressive, the Jaguar, compared to the Alfa, and I mean, I can't get over the difference when you do put these two cars together. That's what you notice. Okay, with the Alfa V6, 2.9 litres, 510 horsepower, 600 newton meters for 40 pound-foot of torque, something like that. A really potent Ferrari engineer car, although they deny it, as we know. Love the carbon bonnet on it. Also, just strangely here, as we showed, aluminium sort of towers there, but the body structure itself is all steel. It's got aluminium wings on it, though. So, over in the Jaguar corner, again, carbon bonnet, as you can see. But rather than the V6, we now have a supercharged 5-litre V8, and SVO engineers worked really hard to get it right back in the chassis, you can see. And the other key difference with this car, 4-wheel drive. So you expect it to be a fair bit heavier. Well, I actually weighed both of these cars this morning. The Alfa came out at 1680 kilos as it stands there. This one 1760 kilos. So there's 80 kilos between the two cars. And the key advantage of the Jaguar, it's made of aluminium, so you will not get this to stick anywhere. We've got carbon there, but if I come round here and open the door, all the actual structure of this car, aluminium. So there you go, that's the difference. So 80 kilos between the two, but nearly 100 horsepower more for the Jaguar compared to that 600, did I mention that? 600 horsepower for the Jaguar and 700 Newton meters. Both carry 8-speed ZF gearboxes as well. Anyway, what these cars are all about is the driving, so let's take them outside now. So back in the Alfa. Funny being in here, it sort of feels a smaller car than you think it is. It looks a size down from the Jaguar XE, and yet they're absolute direct rivals in size, a regular Jaguar XE and a Giulia. This just has a slightly smaller feel to it. It also has this really easy, I've noticed just coming out from the farm, the first things I noticed on the Jaguar is you can see it's got a stiffer ride to it, just from when you're following it. It just has a bit of a jiggle, while this thing in normal mode is a softer setup, but then yeah, just around there he's just taking a bit more speed around there than I would have thought. And I've got this magic bumpy road button, which is the best invention ever if you live in the UK on our rubbish roads. But I think it's because Italy has got equally rubbish roads, so therefore all Ferrari and Alfas now have it. It's a really good button. Yeah, this is going to be interesting getting these two cars together. The other thing I'm looking at the Jaguar is, God, it looks aggressive. I mean, just pumped. That wing, the stripe, the pumped out arches, and the fact I can see the rear wheels because of those dramatic cutouts at the back. Very aggressive look. A touring car escaped from the circuit, now on the road type, even though it's not a touring car. As I said, you know, when I originally tried this Alfa, it all feels pretty normal. You don't get the sense this is a 191 mile an hour Alfa Romeo. Steering is just, it's muted. I like the way it's sharp, 2.25 turns lock to lock. But again, apart from the speed of it, it is slightly sanitised. I'm not getting anything through the wheel. And it's odd how it has bumps and carbon, and you sort of where your hands are, there's a sort of stitch mark where it's leather and Alcantara. Anyway, all things you can very easily live with. What we're going to do is go through Burford, and then there's a much better road, and then we'll find out a bit more about these two cars. One thing the Alfa's got is a better tick for the indicators. I hate the one on the Jaguar. It sounds to me like a grandfather clock. Yeah, this slightly random, how this has this sort of farty exhaust sound that it's random. It's good at times, and then just surprises you. Maybe I ought to just put it up to race so we can hear it a little bit more. It's also interesting when you put it into race mode, this car, it's ESC off, and I've had some very smoky exits from T-junctions and roundabouts thinking, well, I didn't know that. Oh, it's, yeah, everything is turned off. It's very unlike Alfa. So we've got a Giulietta Veloce, and you can't turn the traction control off on that car. But this car, if you put it into race, yeah, it's all turned off. Yeah, I wonder if my driver in the Jaguar in front is going to hoof it up this hill. There's a D-limit sign and a nice climb out. I'll be interested to see how well behaved he is. Be able to resist. It's just something about that Jaguar. Just think, oh my god, this is really quite a good car, and you can't help but just press on. It's just the same if you're in a Porsche GT3. You soon get up into naughty speeds. Yeah, but this, you know, this little Alfa, it can do it when it's not that little. Yeah, someone has spent a lot of time setting this car up. Put it back into dynamic. There we go. Yeah, spent a lot of time setting this car up. I think it's just great that we've now got this sort of Alfa on the market. Usable craziness. And the thing I really like on this Alfa, proper paddles, great big aluminium paddles either side of the wheel. I so much prefer them to the little ones on the steering wheel. Although the ones on the steering wheel, at least they're always there. You always know where they are. But they just feel really cool, metal, big, purposeful, like that on this Alfa. Whereas here, where the damping just feels looser, it doesn't feel as tied down as the Jaguar. Jaguar getting much more feedback. Here, the only way I can explain it, there just seems to be more rubber in the system than there is on the Jaguar. And the two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive, as I say, you are very conscious you're putting all the power through the rear wheels, especially when it's a bit catchy conditions like we've got today, or the tyres are cold. It's very definitely two-wheel drive, this Alfa. Thing. I know it's got 100 horsepower advantage, but my goodness, it's quick round there. My God, it looks utterly unflappable. That is a tricky series of corners through that. This was right on tippy toes, just on edge and front and rear. Jaguar utterly planted through there. Yeah, that showed it a big difference. Right, what we're going to do now is pull over and swap over. Swap cars, similar gear change. What am I noticing first? Well, instantly I've got a V8 wobble, and all suede wheel, feels nice. Here we go. Let's go from here. And obviously I'm sitting on the wrong side, I'm on the left-hand drive. Yeah, instantly explosive power. No turbos to wake up. 5 litre V8, as you'd expect. Instantly feels, bloody hell, this is quick. Rather than waiting that slight pause for the gearbox to change down, it's just there, gone. Alfa looks narrow. And the other thing, sharper steering. I'm getting feedback finally, suddenly from the wheel. No rubber in the suspension whatsoever. I can read exactly what's going on at the road surface. I mean, it's not Lotus 340R, but it's a world away from how that Alfa felt. Let's just step it out around there as well. These are two exciting cars, but this one absolutely feels up for it. It's like having it's like when he first got into a Subaru Impreza, an SDI or a ProDrive, Richard Burns, and he just felt I could do anything in this car. An Evo 9, that's what this Project 8 feels like. Is it worth the extra money? Well, I can tell from here as a driver where all that money's gone into. It's just more connected, it's more planted, it just feels bespoke. There's no other way you can say it. It just feels as though it should live on track, and yet it can live on the road, and it's got the usability. I loved personally buying this. I love the hand-built nature of it and speccing it, and the fact that it's limited. It's weird as a buyer, that's really quite important. And so it's a chunk of money. It's like comparing a normal 911 to the GT3 RS version. Only enthusiasts would justify it. What car are never going to put the Project 8 ahead of the Giulia Quadrifoglio? But as a complete car nut, to have something in the garage that when I open the garage go, oh my lord, it's one of them. I could have an Aston at this price, but I don't have anything. But I just find the giggle factor of this Project 8 that does stuff that I can't believe what it can do and does till bar now is why I pay that premium. So there you go, that's the difference between these two cars. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm off to have some fun. Oh, and the brakes, I should have mentioned the brakes. 400mm carbon brakes after a slightly soggy pedal on the Alfa. That's a nice relief as well. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, keep subscribing, keep watching. See you soon.